Hello, hello. Welcome to Lunch and Learn Live with Lynn on this Thursday, September 12th, the day after that day that lives in so many of our memories. It's seared into our memories of 9/11. So just want to take a moment to remember and honor those people who passed on that unfortunate day and also honor all the heroes who worked tirelessly to help save lives and continue to work tirelessly to save lives. So today I am talking about saving money and making money. Because let's face it, we're all in this kind of crazy economy right now. We heard, if you watch the debate, why that is the case from both sides. And this isn't going to be a political discussion today because I am not political, but we are in the situation that we're in. Inflation assumably has come down, but has it trickled down to all of the areas where we feel inflation, like the cost of groceries? I went the other day, I got like 4 bags, maybe 5 bags, and they weren't even filled. So I think it's something the grocery store does, right? To put like a couple items in a bag and then you get home and it's like, wait, what did I actually get for $185? So I tend not to like obsess over that kind of stuff. And I hope that we're going to get through this period of our economy and things are going to improve, but we still feel it. So I don't know about you, but I got an insurance renewal on my car insurance, 4 or 5 months ago, and it went up like 30%. And I was just like, OMG, what are some things I can do? So I immediately started doing some comparison shopping, and I will talk about this as one of the tips on saving money. But I immediately jumped on to how can I reduce this? And the one way to do it was to switch insurance companies, which is a pain in the ass, I understand. But at the end of the day, I did end up saving quite a bit of money by switching car insurance carriers. I also looked at the coverages on each of the vehicles that I insure, and I increased some deductibles and I did some other things. So it makes sense to look at those things. One of the things I did when I purchased my home is I did opt for the PMI because the interest rate was so low. And now I'm in a position where my home equity is enough that I can drop that PMI. So I have a call into the mortgage company to drop that PMI. So I'm always on the lookout for ways to save money. And I want to share some of these because so often we get busy working and living and playing and maybe retiring, whatever. We all have stuff going on, right? Spending time with our kids and grandkids, that we kind of get caught up in the day to day. So I think it's worthwhile to step back and do these, what I call money audits. Look at ways that you can save money. Look at ways that potentially you can be making more money, because life, either before retirement or in retirement, it's really, really important. Cash flow. Cash flow is king. The difference between your income and expenses. So you need to know your cash flow. You need to audit it. You need to check on it. And you need potentially, hopefully, to track it. Like 1 in 5 Americans budget. So, if you're not a budget person, you should at least have an idea of what you're spending and do those audits on a regular basis. And that regular basis is up to you. And I do want to mention that the Her Retirement software platform that you can subscribe to has a smarter spending tracking tool. And basically, you go in and you put in all of your income sources, you put in all of your expenses, and it will identify your negative or positive cash flow. Now, there's 2 tools, one for pre-retirement and one for retirement. So if you're several years away from retirement, you can use this tool. It's worth the subscription fee just to use the smarter spending tracking tool. And that's like this much of the full functionality of the software platform. But and then when you get closer to retirement, or if you want to think about, well, what are my retirement expenses going to look like? What is my retirement income going to look like? What will my cash flow in retirement be? Then you can use the retirement smarter spending tracking tool to go in and see where you're going to end up and to really, really get a sense for what those retirement expenses will be. So very important to know your cash flow. And I have a smarter spending tracking tool. You just go to the herretirement.com website. You go up to the top navigation and you'll see software. You can click on that, check out the software, and you can get a free trial of it. Check it out. And then you can subscribe to it. Super easy, inexpensive. You can look at the subscription options. So let's jump into ways to save money. We think about cutting costs and living frugally, but there are some really smart, prudent ways to trim expenses without sacrificing your quality of life. I was just talking about this with a woman the other day, and I said, you know what? Yes, it's important if you feel behind on retirement or behind on saving for something that you've been wanting to purchase, to think about how you can cut expenses. But I don't think you should do it to the point of depravity, because when you feel like you can't have something, it's kind of miserable, quite honestly. But to live life in depravity, I don't think is really truly living. That's my own personal opinion. I was watching a Dave Ramsey YouTube video the other day by chance, and it was a guy that called in. He said he felt behind on saving for retirement. He, basically said he was making $75,000 a year. His house was almost paid for. And I think Dave asked him about any debt. And he said, yeah, I have a loan on a Harley Davidson, like $20,000. And the first thing Dave and his co-host said was, get rid of the Harley. And I was like, but wait, like the Harley might be what he does. It might be his social outlet. It might be, what he does to bring him joy. It might be like a key part of his transportation to his job. Like, they didn't ask him about Social Security, other income sources, other expenses. It was just get rid of the Harley. Now, this might be reality TV, right? Dave Ramsey reality TV, shock and awe, like get rid of it, dump the Harley. Like I was like, he's giving advice, and I don't think it's practical nor prudent, because he didn't ask about anything else. This, again, might be something of value to this person. So part of this exercise for saving money to live better now or in retirement is to identify those values, to identify what brings you joy, what things are non-negotiables. All right. So part of this might be, these are some of my non-negotiables. No, I'm not going to downsize my house, which is the first suggestion, because I have all of my kids come and stay over and spend time, and this is our family home. Okay, that you identified as a value. Another example is I was talking with a woman who said, we had these summer vacations and all the family came together, and I was thinking that maybe I would buy like a small camp on a lake and have the kids come. And so I said, well, how often will that happen? And she said, well, maybe once a year, the summer, a week or two. So I said, okay, so you're going to spend, I don't know, $500,000, $600,000 on this camp to have a 2-week vacation with your family. Now, if it was important for her to live in this environment year round for her also, then maybe it might make sense. But if it was just a 2-week vacation, I was like, well, why not rent an Airbnb for the 2 weeks, different lakes, same lake, whatever, and invite your family to come. You're going to save a ton of money, and you can use the money for other things. So it's just kind of thinking through these things and really, really identifying what's important to you. So for me, exercise. I just bought a mountain bike. Nope, didn't buy a brand new one. Went on Facebook Marketplace, bought a brand new one that someone had only ridden once, and I saved $150. So you can live practical. Bought a car. Did not buy a brand new car. I bought a car 3 years old, shopped around, and this car was like $2,000 less than any other equivalent car. Plus, it came with a bunch of additional items that weren't included in those cars. And it's a nice car, but it's not like a luxury car. So again, I did a ton of research on ways that I could have a nice, reliable car without breaking the bank. But those are my personal values and priorities. You need to decide yours. I shop at TJX, I shop at Marshall's, and typically consignment stores. Okay. So again, it all comes down to what's important to you. So let me jump into ways to save money. Number one is downsizing your home. This is something we all think about as we approach retirement or as the kids leave and it's empty nest and you're like, whoa, we have 3 bedrooms upstairs. We're not even turning the heat on up there. You're paying for that space. So I started out, I started out a long time ago in a small Cape. I eventually worked my way up to a 4,000 square foot home. The whole backstory on why that was important to me at the time. But then over time, I gradually downsized back down. And now my main level living is a ranch, 1,700 square feet, main level. And then I have a full basement for a workout room, what I call her hive, which is my TV room / office, storage space. It was perfect, right? But it was, giant house. Now I'm down to a smaller house, much more affordable from a total cost of ownership perspective. It had all been completely redone recently, new heating, new plumbing, new everything, public sewer, public water, like the whole 9 yards. This was important to me because I am an empty nester. I've got a couple extra bedrooms for when they come back, but I'm not spending too much on my housing. And there are ways that people could downsize even more. So, like I said, lower maintenance, lower property taxes, utilities. Actually, the time you spend, right? You get a smaller yard, your vinyl sided house, so you're not spending time painting. So, cost of ownership also from the perspective of how much time are you going to spend taking care of this home. And cleaning, right? If you have a cleaning person, well, maybe the cleaning person isn't needed anymore because you don't have 3 bathrooms with 3 kids keeping the bathrooms constantly dirty, trampling through the house with shoes and friends and dogs. And, so there's ways that you can definitely save some money on that front. And, you want to maybe free up the cash from the home to travel and spoil the grandkids. So I talked about buying a house on a lake. We're perpendicular to a lake. We have lake access. We have a mountain in our backyard. We're not on the lake, but guess what? We saved $400,000 by not being lakefront, having a side view of the lake, having lake access to paddleboard. We made really good friends across the street. They are on the lake. So with that $400,000 that we didn't spend on the lake house, yeah, that's a lot of fun doing other things, traveling, going to stay with friends who live on lakes, who live on beachfronts, who live, in the mountains of New Mexico. So again, think about what it is that you want to do. It's kind of a lifestyle planning exercise also, and it's about living intentionally and thinking and planning about what are those important things for you. Transportation costs, I just talked about a vehicle, right? If you're not commuting to work anymore, do you really need 2 cars, 3 cars? Some people think of cars and Harleys as an important part of their life because it's their hobby. It's what they do. Maybe you jump in the convertible and you drive to the beach and you use that convertible a lot in the nice weather. That's something important to you. My really good friends, they have an old convertible Corvette. He loves old Corvettes, and it's what brings him joy. So you have to think about what brings you joy. But if having those 2 cars really isn't serving purpose, doesn't have a need, maybe you have access to public transportation or you can drive a golf cart, you're going to save on gas, insurance, and of course, maintenance. And I also tell people to think about buying used versus new. However, my mother had a lease car, and she would buy a new lease car every 3 years because she was in her 80s and she said, I don't want to deal with maintenance and repair. And I just want to go turn it in, get the newest model, get something that, has a feature that I didn't have on the older version. And so she had a pension from her ex-husband. It was like $400 a month. And that was her Bob car, we called it, because Bob was her ex-husband. She was left this pension, and that's how she treated herself. New car every 3 years. So again, it's all about what's important to you, what you have to identify. next one is smart spending on food. Oh my goodness, like how do we do this, right? So I started trying to grow tomatoes this summer because I was like, hey, if I could grow a vegetable garden, I can like eat what I grow. So yeah, I grew like 3 little cherry peppers, but I'd never started a garden. But seriously, I mean, I think there are some ways you can spend, smartly spend on food. Other times, you like, I want to pay premium because I want to support local, I want to support organic. Again, comes down to your values. I am one that is very in tune with my physical wellness, and I want to put good stuff into my body. So I tend to maybe spend more on my food than other people, but there are smart ways to spend less on money, spend less on food. So I know in our case, we are eating out much less than we used to because we just started seeing like how expensive it is. And we have a lovely deck with a lovely view of our yard. And we can just make something on the grill and enjoy the outdoors and just have fun, right? So we do tend to treat ourselves, but just not as often. And believe it or not, for me personally, sometimes when I eat out, the food is so rich and heavy that it bothers my stomach. And I'm like, so not only did I, just spend $150 on a dinner, it made me feel like crap. So I'm like, yeah, I think I'll be a little choosier on when I eat out, where I eat out, what I'm willing to spend that money on, and maybe do more cooking at home because I have a beautiful kitchen and I've always wanted to cook more. So that's the plan anyway. And it's becoming fall soon and winter, and it's a good time to get the crock pot out and make, bigger meals that you can then use for the whole week. So we do that with like spaghetti and meatballs, albeit we do splurge on grass-fed beef. But anyway, there's ways to take advantage of couponing if you like to do that. Senior discounts at grocery stores and restaurants, they're there for a reason. So go ahead and use them, right? Lowering healthcare expenses. As we know, healthcare is a big expense. I've I don't like healthcare in America. The amount of money that self-employed people pay for healthcare is astronomical. We're up over $30,000 a year for a family plan, and that's through Harvard Pilgrim Health in Massachusetts. And then there's out of pocket. So it's a topic that's really somewhat annoying to me, and it's just something that we have to deal with. But what I did this year was I looked at our health insurance plan and I really took a fine-tooth comb to it and said, okay, knock on wood, we're healthy. And I reduced my health insurance. I put my kids who are in college on their college health plans and took them off of our family plan. So there are some tricks of the trade that you can try. And I actually also did a high deductible plan so that I could open a health savings account. So if you have the time to put money into a health savings account, it is one of the best investments you can make in your healthcare expenses for retirement, because the money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and you can take it out tax-free. So health savings accounts are very valuable and something you should definitely consider. If you're self-employed, you can open a health savings account. And I have a great company that I just established a relationship with for health savings accounts. And so if you want information on that, definitely reach out to me. But if your employer offers a health savings account and even a flexible savings account, definitely take advantage of them. It's like my number one tip for women who are looking to put money into an investment account, because it is the best investment that you can make with your money. So health savings account, or HSA. As far as healthcare in retirement, it's Medicare, right? At 65. I get a lot of messages from people that say, well, I want to retire at 62. What do I do for healthcare between 62 and 65? And it's one of the reasons people don't retire at 62 is because they're not going to have the health coverage. In that case, you have to go to the ACA marketplace, which is Obamacare. You have to self-fund. You have to get on a spouse or partner's plan, or maybe you get a part-time job at like, I think Starbucks or something pays medical benefits. But yeah, it is a major factor and something that you need to pay attention to. But when it's time to get on Medicare, I think it's very helpful to have Medicare resources, Medicare help to help you choose the most affordable plans based on your medical needs. So, if you need to connect, I have two different providers that I connect people to for choosing the right Medicare options for you. And switching plans each year can save hundreds, if not thousands, for you potentially. Um, and of course, you want to stay healthy with preventative care. So it's the best investment you can make. And so, in terms of preventative care, it's getting outside and walking every single day, right? Make a commitment to get outside and walk. You don't have to go run, you don't have to get all sweaty, but you can walk 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 steps every day. Walking is one of the most important things you can do. And our health, 80% of it is within our control, 20% is genetics. So I'll take those odds and I'm going to prioritize my health because ultimately I know it reduces my healthcare expenses. And in retirement, for the average woman, out of pocket costs, according to a few different studies, is around $160,000 over the course of your retirement. So when you're doing that smarter spending tracking plan for retirement, you need to plan for your out of pocket healthcare costs. The other thing that comes up with Medicare and healthcare costs is something called IRMA, the Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. This is a Medicare shadow tax that many people will be subject to and they don't even realize it. So it's a blind spot. It's like, oops, I just got a letter from Medicare saying that my Medicare, instead of being $174 a month, my Part B and Part D are being impacted and I'm getting this IRMA premium and it's gone up to $500 a month. Like that's a big surprise expense. And there's many things that can trigger the IRMA surcharge. In fact, I am hosting a webinar on IRMA on September 25th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can tune into that. So if you think you're going to be at the income levels in retirement that could trigger IRMA, things like taking money from your 401ks, capital gains, so many things can impact the cost of your Medicare. So if you want to get educated about IRMA, go to irmawebinar.com and join us to hear about some basics of IRMA, if you potentially might be subjected to IRMA, and then some strategies to avoid an IRMA letter. 8 million people are getting an IRMA letter this year in 2024. Over the course of the next 10 years, that's going to likely double. So you don't want to get an IRMA letter, and there's ways to avoid it. There's also ways that you can appeal IRMA, and we briefly cover that in the webinar, but we have lots of resources to help you appeal IRMA as well, because there are instances when you can appeal. All right. Number 5 expense to look at is reducing utilities and subscriptions. So, on your iPhone, you buy these little apps, little things add up, and there's leakage. I call it money leakage, just things you're spending money on. So that's why it's important to look at your checking account statements, your credit card statements, and identify those leakages. I looked at a credit card that I just it gets paid automatically, but I knew, I was like, wow, I'm getting like a $20 payment a month automatically on this $20 expenses. Well, it was two things. It was some what do you call it? Game app thing from one of my kids. And the other was like an Apple Play or Spotify or something. I was like, which kid? No, gone. I saved $20 like so quickly. Subscriptions, same thing. There might be some things you subscribe to that you no longer need. But that's on the subscription side. So there's money leakage on things you're just spending money on. Automatic renewals, like those just sneak up. Like I just had an automatic renewal on something and I reached out and I was like, no, I don't want this automatic renewal. Second thing is energy bills, right? So we know, particularly in the Northeast, I didn't use my air conditioner. Well, earlier in the summer, I guess I did use my air conditioner a lot because it was hot and humid here this summer, which is really unique. But in the winter, it's the heating bills, right? I heat with propane gas. Lots of people heat with oil. I have a friend who's into like splitting wood, stacking wood, burning wood in the wood stove. Uh, that's not me. I don't have a wood stove. Probably be a great workout. Um, pellet stoves. So, one of the things we can do is look at our appliances to be energy efficient. Sometimes we have very old appliances and there could be some rebates. So there's some ways that you can look at saving on your energy bills. Just real quick, the other day I posted on Facebook that I was freezing because I woke up 2 days ago and it was like 62 degrees in my house. And I was just like, ooh, I need to just take the chill out of the air. I'm going to just turn on the heat for a few minutes. So I turned it up to 72. My house is super efficient because it's got a new heating system and the house isn't very big. And I think within like 20 minutes, I felt warm enough. So I posted that on Facebook. And one of my kids said, wait, back in the day when we were home, if we said it was cold, you'd tell us to put on a hoodie. So go put on a hoodie, Mom, tomorrow if it's cold. She had a very good point. I was like, wait, yeah, I guess I could have just put on a hoodie and sweatpants, but it's still summer. Like that seems so weird. But I also hate to be cold. So I was like, all right, if I can't afford to put on my heat for 20 minutes, we have other issues to talk about. But seriously, having a Nest, thermostat, having your thermostat, turn on and turn off at certain times, keeping your heat low in the evening, dressing warmer, putting on the hoodie, putting on the sweatpants. But yeah, there are some ways that you can be more energy efficient. Here in Massachusetts, I'm going to have Mass Save come in, take a look at how I can make my home more energy efficient. So in your state, you could probably look at that too. Again, these are all things you can do. Obviously, it takes time. But the idea is that the amount of time you put in is going to really be insignificant to the amount of savings that you have on the back end. It's all about being, money smart, money savvy, and spending in line with your values. So now I want to transition for the balance of this live today to making money. All right. Now, as we get older, closer to retirement, we think, ooh, making money, like, no, retirement's about spending money. But sometimes, and oftentimes, in the case with women, we have to continue to make money. So one is obviously continuing to work. So if you are feeling good and you're able to maintain, your physical and mental vitality, which is so important anyway, those things are important if you need to continue working. So there's that side benefit of, oops, I need to continue working, but I feel good mentally and physically, so I'm able to work. In this age of work from home, maybe you're not and you're commuting and it's killing you because you have 12-hour days and you're exhausted. Well, maybe think about changing jobs, changing positions, learning some new skills. Yes, you can learn new skills at 60 and, just switching up what you do, or thinking about what skills you have and how they can be applied to making money on a continual basis. So if you're working full-time, maybe you could go part-time, maybe you could do some consulting with other companies in your industry. And I'm going to go into a few other ideas. So, there are many ways to create new income streams that can add to your financial freedom and possibly even make retirement more fun. And even if I don't know, everybody uses the example of a Walmart greeter, or maybe you work at the local garden center, or, maybe you're making $10,000, $20,000 a year in those retirement years. That money can be significant. And the reason it can is because you're not pulling that money out of your nest egg, out of your IRAs. You're actually bringing income in and thereby reducing the amount of money that you need to pull off of that nest egg. Okay. The other factor is that, potentially you do turn on that Social Security income if you have access to it at 62. Lots of reasons why you might want to do that. And there might be lots of reasons why you don't want to do that. But that is an income source, obviously, in retirement, as well as your nest egg. But I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about things outside of those traditional income sources like Social Security, your 401ks, your IRAs, investment accounts, whatever. these are other things you could do. So number one is freelancing or consulting. So taking that skill set and seeing how you can use it. There's online companies like Fiverr, Fiverr, where you could go and put your freelance flag out and say, I'm a freelancer and I can do this for you, and people hire you to do that freelance. Many women over 50 years, many women at our age have like 40, 50 years of experience and knowledge. And so you can use that to your advantage. Like take an inventory, a self-analysis inventory of what skills you have and how you can apply them in a freelancing or consulting field. And, potentially you use that as a transition, a bridge, right? So maybe you're working full time, but you're going to start this little freelance consulting gig on the side. Maybe it stays on the side always and you get rid of that full time and it just becomes your main thing that you do. I like to call it semi-retirement because you're not doing the 9 to 5 grind. You're doing it on your own time around your other priorities, especially as you enter those traditional retirement years. And it's a good way to get yourself established in that side hustle before you have to cut the cord on your full-time job. Monetize your hobbies, right? Turn your hobbies into cash, whether you're into knitting, painting, photography. You can sell your creations online through Etsy stores or create your own store in like an app called Shopify. You can write books, children's books. I've talked about this before. I have a few different books that I sell on Amazon now. I could probably spend more time promoting them and sell more, but it's a very, very part-time hobby for me right now, and potentially it becomes more of a full-time hobby. One of the things that I did to create a new product was called the Retirement is Better box, and it's a gift box for retirees. I have one for men and one for women. You can go check it out at retirementisbetterbox.com. And again, I don't spend a lot of time promoting it, but eventually, I do want to. Maybe I need to hire like a little intern to help me promote it. But the idea is that people purchase this gift box and I make a little side income off of selling this gift box. I just posted a podcast yesterday where I spoke with a woman named Jan Golden. She's all about pro-aging. She's a pro-aging advocate. And what she has done is she created a pro-aging greeting card line. And so you got to go listen to it on my website at herretirement.com. You just go to the podcast tab and listen to, it's the 127th episode, or if you scroll down the homepage, it's also there. But I had a lovely conversation with Jan Golden about pro-aging, Encore Careers, and how she started this little business and now she sells her cards all over the world. And so I don't remember her exact age, somewhere in her 60s. And I was just like, I was in awe of what she did because she's combining things that I love: art, humor, writing, and she's created a profitable product, and she's having lots of fun with it. So go check out that podcast. Number 3 is part-time or remote work. I did mention that, we're in a remote work world where you can hopefully have that location freedom. And, many retirees find joy in that part-time work, whether it's in retail, remote customer service, there's a big need for that, or starting a brand new career or your own business. Women over 50 are launching businesses at 3 times the rate of the rest of the population. And that's why I created a Facebook group called Never Too Late to Launch. And I'm working on a little booklet / guide to help women over 50 who want to start their own business, but they're really not sure where to start. So my book is like right from the beginning, like, how do you start this business? How do you market it? How do you build it? How do you run it? And so that's going to be coming out hopefully soon. Again, another one of my side projects, but that's called Never Too Late to Launch. And you can check out that Facebook group. But yeah, that flexible part-time job can bring in extra cash, without taking over your life. Because as we go into those traditional years, we may really, really, really want to stay intellectually stimulated by work that we have a passion for, that inspires us. But we also want to enjoy some time for other endeavors that we've always dreamt about. So that part-time or flexible location-free job might be just the ticket, and there's lots of opportunities out there for that. Um, Fourth is real estate income. If you have extra space in your home, a finished basement, rent out a room or list it on Airbnb. You can explore investing in rental properties if you're looking for some other income sources. So, sometimes you want to invest with someone who does this for a living. They redo a home, they sell it, you get a percentage. There's also some investing programs like real estate investment trusts that you can invest in real estate. But again, you need to do your research on that. And you need to talk to an investment/retirement advisor about those opportunities. Selling unused items. I have 4 things that I'm trying to get time to list on Facebook to sell. We all have stuff that we don't use anymore and people buy it. And there's safe ways to do that on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, even Etsy. I have this giant collection of handbags and I don't need them. In my corporate career, I was obsessed. I bought handbags and I have 2 giant bins of handbags. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to sell those. So I think I'm going to just get them all on my Shopify store and just let people know that I have these almost new, beautiful handbags and, just turn the clutter of my clutches into cash. Maybe that's a new name. But anyway, the 6th thing that you can do to make money is dividend paying stocks and investments. Great example of a truly passive income source. And so investing in dividend paying stocks or other types of investments or real estate can generate that truly passive income. And so this is one of the reasons I encourage women to not sit on the sidelines. Don't leave all your money in cash. If you're leaving your money in cash, you are you're losing money truly because of inflation. So you need to take some of that cash. You need to have a cash reserve. You need to have an emergency fund. But above and beyond that, you really need to get your money working for you and you need to invest it to have some passive income, whether you're going to take that income in retirement as, like systematic withdrawals, a retirement paycheck, or you have some dividend paying stocks that pay you a dividend. Again, there's lots of opportunities today for women to learn about this. So if you want to become an investor and learn more about investing, there's so many resources. I have a course on the Her Retirement website about investing for retirement. It's like $37 and you can take that course. You just go to courses on the Her Retirement website. But there are full-blown investing courses that you can take to get more knowledgeable or hire a financial advisor or a retirement advisor. I know a couple that are good who can do that investing on your behalf and make sure that your money is actually invested and making money for you. And hopefully it's, going to be a really great resource for you when you need it. All right. So again, to track your spending and your income, I encourage you to check out my Her Retirement software, the Smarter Spending Tracking Tool. It's a subscription-based software, but you can take a free preview of it. Tons of functionality. The spending tool is just this much of the functionality. There's so much more functionality to it, and you can get a tour of that by going to the software tab on the Her Retirement website. But I would highly encourage you to, if you want to take control of your cash flow now or in retirement, my tool is set up to make it super easy for you to do that. So I highly encourage you to check it out, and I thank you in advance for checking it out. I've spent a few years working on this, and potentially creating a software platform that can help women, retire with more or know more, have more, live more now and in retirement is, another potential income source for me because it's not free. I am a for-profit business, but, I basically took my knowledge of technology and software and retirement planning, combined it and created this product. And now I guess I need to market it to let people know it's there. But anyway, I do invite you to check it out, and thank you in advance for checking it out, because I've spent a lot of my blood, sweat, and tears building this platform. So I appreciate you checking it out and then sharing it with a friend if you know someone who could benefit from it. So, these are just some of the ways that I was thinking about that you can save money, make money. Hopefully our economy gets stronger. Inflation, as it, from a pure measurement perspective, it has come down last year. It was like 8% or something crazy, and it has settled back down. But we have not felt the impact of that. The cost of housing is outrageous. So many things, right? So hopefully things settle back down, but it's important for us women to stay vigilant, to stay on top of how we can save money, make sure we can make money, make sure that we are growing, preserving, protecting that nest egg so that when we need it, it will be there for us. And, I always say to people, you need to identify your gaps well before you retire. So again, my smarter spending tracking tool can help you identify those gaps well before you retire. So it's important to identify your expenses, even if you estimate them now for retirement. Identify your potential income sources from Social Security, from your IRAs, from your investments, from rental properties, whatever it might be. Subtract those. Know your cash flow. If there's a gap, how are you going to fill the gap? And you need to think about the ways that you're going to fill the gap. And this is another functionality of my software platform. It's called the Assess module, where you go in and you enter complete financial inventory of everything you have, and the software is going to come back and identify your gaps, your risks, and your opportunities. And so this is a really, really powerful tool for women to get education and insight into what they have, what they're going to need, and will it be enough? And then you can take steps to fill the gaps. So important to fill the gaps. And that's part of what this exercise is about today. If you have gaps, you need current gaps and future gaps. How can you save money so that you have extra or you have enough? And how can you make money to not put yourself in such a financially, cash flow negative situation? Okay. Retirement doesn't mean you have to stop earning or start penny pinching, although some people want to, because I've seen the reverse, where people have a really, really good nest egg and they've been such strong savers their whole life that they have a really hard time spending it in retirement for fear they're going to run out. But this is why it's so important to get that analysis of what you have, what you'll need, and how long it will last, and if you have any gaps. If you have lots of surplus, go freaking spend it. Like, enjoy it. Spend it, with the guardrails, right? You don't want to go nuts so that you end up with nothing at 80, but you need that retirement income projection, that retirement spending plan, so you know what you have, what you can spend, and what you can enjoy. And once you have that information, so important. So whether you work with me and my software and my coaching and, take some of my courses, or you work with another advisor, so important to find out what you've got, what you'll need, and if you're going to have gaps, and how you fill the gaps, and put a plan in place for all of that. All right. So with a few smart adjustments, potentially, you can save more, make more. And with my programs at Her Retirement, you can know more, have more, and live more. And in some cases, it's important for people to leave more. And I talked about that. Like, yeah, it's one thing to go and spend in retirement, enjoy your retirement, but maybe it's important for you to leave more also to your children. And there are some ways that you can do that too, assuming you're in a financial position to do that. So I hope these tips have given you some inspiration for creating a retirement that works for you. And also, if you're pre-retirement, that you have a spending plan that makes the pre-retirement years as best as they can be, knowing that you're putting some aside for your future, which is so important. And remember, it's never too late to launch a company, never too late to get your health and happiness in shape and to get your finances in shape. It's never too late to make changes that improve your financial situation and improve the quality of your life. If you need help, reach out to me, Lynn T at herretirement.com. I love educating about all of this stuff. That's why I do these YouTube lives and why I have 110,000 followers on TikTok and I have 127 episodes of my podcast. And I think it's one of the reasons that I was also just notified that I'm a finalist in the Investment News magazine's Women to Watch for 2024. And I'm a finalist in the Financial Literacy Champion category. And I'll find out on November 6th if I am the big winner in the category. So, yeah, I am 100% committed to helping women know more, have more, and live more. My only question is, are you committed? So if you want to get her done, keep following me, keep watching my content, keep learning, because I believe we can all retire with more. So don't forget to like and subscribe my videos so that you're notified when I post new stuff, because I'm always posting new stuff. And yeah, here's to getting her done. See you next time.